What's up, y'all? It's Mike with Tall City Sneakers, Sinners and Sneakers.
Noah.
Devin.
And in this short segment, we're just going to talk about trying to add a little bit of value, how you can maybe start reselling, how you can generate some additional income, or maybe turn it into a whole full-time income with reselling. And our particular avenue is sneakers, right? We resell sneakers. We sell sneakers at our store. But that's not where we started. And there's so many things that people can flip and make a little extra money or a whole income over these days. But so we'll talk a little bit about that. I want to get the boys' opinions on reselling a little bit. How maybe if they have any ideas of how people can start or where's a good place to start, things like that. A lot of people ask. One of the questions is new or used as it pertains to sneakers. A lot of people think used is the way to start. A lot of people think new. Do y'all have an opinion? Should people start reselling in new or used sneakers?
What you got, Noah?
I think new is definitely there's more of a market for that. I feel like some people just don't like having used shoes or buying used shoes just because they're used.
Yeah.
Like somebody else's foot was in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess to get started though, I think used is easier.
Mhm.
I think it's easier to get your hands more on used pairs, of course, than it is DS or brand new pairs.
Yeah, plus they're cheaper.
Right, exactly. Because
Yeah.
you can sell your own shoes. If you want to start reselling, just sell and flip your own shoes.
Yeah.
Or I do know like one of the main places you can go is I think of garage sales.
Yeah.
When I think of, because like you've mentioned it before, that's how you started your flipping journey. So you went to garage sales and stuff. I did that for a little bit. It's honestly not as easy as it sounds. I don't think I would have been able to done it without your help.
Yeah.
Actually, you helped a lot in that process. But it's hard to just gauge what to buy and what has value.
Yeah.
So how would you, I
Yeah.
guess, gauge that?
And you made a good point. I think there's a couple of things we can talk about there. But the first thing I want to go back and talk about is like start with what you have.
Right.
Like look around the house, look at what you already have. You don't have to spend money. And that can be your starting point. Whether it be old sneakers, old electronics, video games,
Vacuums.
movies, vacuums, car parts,
Yeah.
all these different things, especially if they're no longer producing them, are likely to be worth value and people will be looking for them in unconventional places.
Yeah.
So start with what you already have and let that be a launching point. And then another thing you got to consider is what's the goal? Like, what are you trying to accomplish by this? Are you trying to pay for your Starbucks every week or are you trying to pay for your mortgage? And that determines your next move and how much time and energy and money you're going to have to spend going into that. I think that's where a lot of people mess up and get frustrated. They don't have a clear path. They just say something like, oh, let's just see what happens.
Right. I think the hardest part for me though, when I went down the flipping, or I did eBay for a little bit, was trying to stay on top and like in the positives, making money, not losing money, which that was pretty hard. While you were doing it, were you always making money?
I
Or-
would honestly say most of the time I was, but I didn't make money on everything that I bought. I'll say that.
Okay.
On some things, you have to be prepared to take an L. There was a lot of times, especially when I was garage sale flipping, I would get home and be like, I don't know why I bought this. I messed up. And as opposed to spending time and energy going into that thing I already realized that I messed up on, I just threw it in the trash because it was already dead to me in my mind. Like I knew I shouldn't have done this. And then I'm going to spend more time and energy and money, like, because time is money, right?
Right.
To try to sell that and salvage it when I had already established like this was dumb. So sometimes it's better just to take your L and move on, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't say that I was like a professional flipper or a professional like reseller or anything, but I guess the whole process, you just have to keep doing it if that makes sense. So like you buy something, right? And then you sell it. Say you buy something for $20, you sell it for 50. You should take that profit or the money you made to buy other products or buy something else,
Right.
so that you keep going forward. Because like you said in our first episode, that you start with $100.
$100.
Yeah, you start with $100 and you continue to build on top of that 100, right? And I think that's one of the main, I guess, main factors or main things that help when it comes to flipping or reselling or whatever you may be doing, is to take the money you make and make more money with it.
Yeah.
Instead of taking that money. Because how long did it take for you to actually pay yourself?
I paid myself after 3 months.
3 months. See, so that was the 3 month time period. You were just taking that money and flipping it. You just
Yeah.
kept flipping it until you finally made enough to pay yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the main factors. Is there like a
Yeah.
step process to flipping?
Again, I think you need to establish that in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because you could do one or two models that I think will work is this. So say you could say, okay, I'm gonna pay myself or incentivize myself 20% of profit on everything I sell. That's a good way to do it. Or determine what that percentage is and say, this is what I'm paying myself. What's not a good thing is to say, man, I made $2,000 this month. I'm going to go spend it,
Yeah.
because then you're putting your business in a hole. You're putting your flipping in a hole because, yeah, that's great. You made $2,000, but you're stopping the process from continuing to grow by not investing some of that money back into your flipping or your business or whatever it is. So it's better if you can afford it to be like, okay, I'm going to keep 500 and then the other 15, we're going to grow it for next month. We're going to put it back in and see maybe next month I can take a little bit more or something like that. I think those are better options than saying,
Yeah. And this is like I guess it's not all from like a sneaker perspective.
right.
Because we're like, yes, we're talking about flipping sneakers because that's what our store does. But people can use this and flip other things. Like you said in the beginning, you can flip practically anything.
Yeah.
As long as it has value.
Yeah.
Right. So you just have to find the product. You mentioned it a lot in the first episode.
And it doesn't have to be a specific product. I mean, you can flip anything and everything you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
if somebody wants it,
It
somebody's
could
gonna buy it.
be-
Yeah.
toilet paper, it could be mask, or
Right.
it could
Yeah.
be sneakers.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I think it's like a couple of things that help. Again, I keep saying the same thing. Like you need to establish your goal. What are you trying to do? If you're trying to just make money, then you need to do some research and see what can I buy low and sell high and keep looking for those things. And there's even like cook groups like on Instagram and stuff like that will say, hey, this cup is releasing at Target.
Stanley
like
Cups.
Stanley
Cup.
Cups, or
That's
this
crazy.
special edition record is releasing at Walmart. Like there's all these things that are being produced that will instantly have value, and there's people already sourcing and know this information that they can continue to funnel you. So that's one way. Like if you're just trying to make money, you need to find out what those products are, what has value, and what you can continue to flip. Now those are new products. You can do the same for old. You can go to garage sales and say, hey, I'm looking for Pokemon, I'm looking for car parts, I'm looking for old video games, I'm looking for
Golf
vintage
clubs.
clothing, golf clubs, memorabilia. I mean, you can go on and on and on. But the more research that you do, the more information you have, and the easier it becomes to turn those things into dollars. So that's one way. Another option is do something you like,
Yeah.
because then it becomes not so much a chore. It's like, this is fun, right? I like waking up and going to garage sales with my friends because we're going to crack jokes the whole time. We may make some money in the process, but if we don't, that's cool too. There's probably going to be a breakfast burrito involved in this whole adventure of the morning.
Student breakfast burritos, bro.
So it's fun, like,
Yeah.
but again, you have to establish, why am I doing this? What do I want to accomplish with this? What's the goal?
Yeah.
Um,
And once you know your goal, stick to it.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's hard to do that if you don't know what you're doing. But you have to, at the same time, you have to put in the work and put in the effort, do your research, do your homework, and be willing to, because it's not easy in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think that's what gets a lot of people. In the beginning, you start it, right? And it's not as easy as you thought it was going to be, or you realize like, oh, I need to keep doing this. I need to do more and more, and you just don't feel like it. Like you don't have the motivation anymore, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to keep that motivation. What kept you motivated during the whole?
A couple of things. Number one, necessity.
Yeah.
And number two, I had friends that were doing it.
Mhm.
So like that made it me want to do it. If I had to do it by myself, like I wouldn't have been as successful, being honestly. And we each had our own, like Mr. Ben, who I go to grad schools with. He was flipping, doing his own thing. Then me, and then we had Mr. Nick, my friend Nick.
Yeah.
He was doing his own thing, right? But we all did it together.
Right.
And we all like to see each other win and help each other. Like Nick developed this liking for vintage toys.
Yeah.
I don't want to do vintage toys. So when I saw vintage toys, I'd be like, hey, Nick, they got toys. Like, go check it. You know, check
Mr.
it.
Ben does everything.
Yeah, Mr. Ben is just trying to make money.
Whatever. You can
They
do,
knew I
yeah.
liked shoes and vintage clothes and video games. So they, they would lean those things towards me. So that definitely helped. But a few more tips, because this video, we didn't want to make it too long, but follow us on all the social medias for more content like this. If y'all want more content like this, let us know. We're just trying to add value to our viewers. But so start with what you have. You don't have to go get a loan or spend $1,000 or $5,000 to start flipping. Just look around the house, gather things you have, list on as many places as you can. So if you don't have an eBay account, start an eBay account. If you don't have Facebook for Facebook Marketplace, get Facebook for Facebook Marketplace. If you're flipping a shoe that's social media driven, get an Instagram account, get a TikTok account. Start putting these things on all these platforms so you can broaden your audience, so you have more likelihood to sell these things. Establish what the goal is, and that'll determine what you're going to sell. Maybe you're just trying to make money, or you're trying to do something that you love, right? So establish that. Get some friends to do it with you. And like we have like cheat code 3000 with YouTube.
Yeah.
Like if you want to learn the best way to do it, like YouTube it. Like a lot of times we learn by making mistakes, but I think the best lessons are learned by watching somebody else mess up.
Right.
And looking at like, yeah, you do it, you mess up, and then I'll learn from your mess up, right? So you don't have to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's all we got for today.
Reselling with Tall City Sneakers.
Reselling tips.
Reselling tips with Tall City Sneakers. Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, you have any specific questions, message us. I'll be happy to share. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
We'll send them all down to Papa Mike.
That
Wow.
way.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Peace.
Adios.